Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company, a casual American dining experience specializing in an all-scratch-made kitchen featuring wood-fired flatbreads, an inviting atmosphere for the whole family to enjoy. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV is also brought to you by Unibank, Big Bank Know-How, Community Bank Attitude, and of course we come to you live, as we do in every edition of Scarlet Hawks athletics, from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Rentschler Biopharma is a global contract development and manufacturing organization specializing in biopharmaceuticals and advanced therapies. They take pride in contributing to nearly 25% of FDA-approved biopharmaceuticals in 2023. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you in the midst of 3 straight days of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. We were out on the soccer field last night, and tonight in the gym for girls volleyball action. Milford taking on King Philip. Brooke Stokes ready to deliver the first serve of the match, and with that action underway, Stokes will set it up over the middle for Abby Murphy. Tries to pin that ball down to the far sideline, the near sideline, excuse me, but that ball just a hair out of play, as KP will take the first point of the match, getting underway a little bit past the expected start time of 5:15. The sub-varsity match is taking a little bit longer. In particular, the JV match went the distance, a competitive game that ended with the King Philip JV squad taking it in the full 3 sets. First serve from the KP side comes from the junior CC Mullen. King Philip starting off 2-0 in this first set. Milford comes into the game today still trying to make that climb back to 500. They are 5-9 on the season and in 4th place in the Kelly Rex Division standings. King Philip just above Milford in those standings in 3rd place, but a 10-6 record. So several games clear of Milford in those standings. Both of these teams within the playoff picture in their respective divisions as we now get into the later stages of October. Just a couple of weeks left now of this fall sports season. And KP off to a 4-1 start. Milford finally getting the side out, and now Inez Wansko de Almeida with the serve. And return drops out of play in front of the scorer's table. I want to welcome in all of our live viewers for tonight's coverage, airing our action locally on the Milford TV Educational Channel, our Verizon High Definition channel, and streaming anywhere, anytime on our YouTube channel. Second meeting of the season between these two teams. Previous matchup took place up at King Philip High School in Wrentham back on September 19th. KP with a 3-set sweep in that match. We'll look a little bit more into the numbers from that match as this one goes along. We can tell you right off the bat that it has been a tough matchup historically for Milford against King Philip. There have been no victories in the last decade of head-to-head meetings for Milford against King Philip. So hoping to change that here tonight. Currently trailing in this first set 6-3, as the serve will now come from the KP libero. That is Alex Pauline. Set up over on the far side, and a nice play from Danny Darling to curl that around the antenna. Another good dig on the back row by Inez. And they're going to award that point to King Philip, and hard to understand why. That ball clearly looked to be inside that back boundary line. And that ball dropped in by a wide margin, so the only question is, did it curl around outside the antenna on the way over? Because that ball dropped in a good solid foot inside the back line. Colleen continuing to serve for King Philip, now leading 8-3. And as extending the arms to get to that ball, now TJ Downing will two-hand it back across. Set up over the middle, KP getting a little tangled up. Milford now in a scramble. Downing gets it back across, and now Inez with a dive on the back row. 3 straight returns now for TJ Downing, and that one will get the job done. So Milford within 4. And Lena Lutkin into the game to take over on serve. And delivers a service error. And KP gets a quick side out. Kristen Gerst, the head coach of the King Philip Warriors. Head coach Tammy Weber, as always, patrolling the sidelines for Milford. Return from the outside for KP is met by Lutkin. Downing now with a little bit more on that return. And KP gets called for the double hit. And Milford gets the side out, trailing 9-5. Downing a good start to this match. Will head to the sidelines. Lucia Testa out to take over on serve. Outside return from Cece Kilroy. And now over the middle, this one pushed to the back. And now this ball called in on a much more questionable ball on the back row. So a couple of head scratchers on each end of the court. KP will take it. They extend the lead now to 10-5. And now Coach Weber is going to call the timeout. That's why it always makes a big difference when we get into the MIAA tournament and you have those additional officials with the flags on the back lines to make sure that those calls are fully accurate. The officials conferring during this timeout. This is right now our last scheduled coverage of the girls volleyball team for the regular season, with again just 2 weeks to go in the season after we wrap things up this week. Our 5th game we've been able to cover for the team. They're a perfect 4-0 in the games that we have covered previously, so we'd love to see that winning record stay intact for the program. But again, a tough test here tonight in King Philip. Action resuming out of the timeout. Here's Inez from the outside. That time the ball well outside that back line. And so more communication here with the officials in between plays. It's now 12-5 KP. And King Philip, who's had a lot going their way so far in this set, gets a nice friendly roll over the net for an ace for Captain Fiona Bailey. Senior heavy roster for the Warriors. This return drifts all the way to the net, and Milford will run out of touches. And the deficit quickly creeps up to 9. Not a lot of energy in the building in the early stages of this match. A smaller crowd than what we've seen for any of Milford's previous home matches that we've covered. Hard cross-court return from the near side for KP. Milford absorbs it on the back and then sends a sneaky quick return the other way. Good work at the net front for Milford again. Good hard work on that rally, paying off. And Leone Manforte will take over on serve, with Milford trailing 14-6. Lightning quick return, and Manforte doing a good job to absorb it, and then got the chance for the return, but did not have a great angle. Lead up to 9 for KP. Avery Reda, the server for the Warriors. That one can't be returned, and that pushes the KP lead to double digits. Players meet on the back row. Issa Grady Harper with the setup, and then Inez on the near side uncorks it out of play. Milford looking a bit out of sorts. Julianis Rentas checking into the game here in this first set action, and that one driven down hard for a kill for Kilroy, the junior. Everyone feeling good on the KP side. The sub-varsity teams continuing to cheer hard for their varsity counterparts. There's Abby Murphy over the middle, a little soft little lob. Milford gets called for the held ball. And King Philip closing in on what could be a very quick opening set. Now at 19-6. Long way for Lupkin to go to keep that ball airborne, and Milford escapes with a point. Looking for something to turn their fortunes around. We'll see if they can maybe build off of that. A nice little scramble, getting rewarded with a point. And now Brooke Stokes will serve. And another hard return for CC Kilroy. Looks to be the hardest hitting out there for the Warriors. She'll get a spot on the bench for now as KP gets the side out. CC Mullen will serve. Danny Darling now. And over the middle, Darling to her knees to keep that ball alive, but Milford right now struggling, and Coach Weber is going to call another timeout as Milford quickly runs out of time in this first set, now down 21-7. We saw Milford struggle in the opening set against the Foxborough Warriors when we covered the team 10 days ago here in the Milford gym. And they were able to overcome a rocky first set to work their way back into the match. Looking back on that game, it was a 25-12 loss in the first set for Milford. They then were able to come back and win the next three to win the match 3-1. But dealing with a very high caliber opponent tonight in the King Philip Warriors. Both teams back out of the timeout. Mullen to deliver another serve. And Stokes, very good on the misdirection. Able to flick that ball over for the kill. Inez serving for the Hawks. Return that will ping pong around on the roof, down to Danny Darling, and playable for Stokes to get the return. Darling, another dive. And now Stokes, a hard hit to the back row. And the ricochet cannot be played up front. Sneaky quickness and sneaky power out of Brooke Stokes. We've seen it all season long. Good work on the back row by Alex Pauline. Stokes sets it up for Darling. Softer return to the back row. Milford rejects at the net front. And so Milford gets a couple of points back. Still trailing by 11. Another good serve, and TJ Downing trying to get the spike, but didn't get that ball across the net, and KP gets the side out. Milford starting to feel better about themselves during that service game for Inez, but it comes to an end, and now on serve for the Warriors is Maya McCormick. Murphy pushes to the near side. Now Issa Grady Harper digs that out. This ball will just miss the basketball hoop, and Downing lobs the return. Again set up on the outside. KP goes down the line. And so initially the call was a point for King Philip on a ball that looked out on the far sideline, and this time the overrule by the official down at the scorer's table gives Milford the side out. And obviously, this has been a well-played set for King Philip as they've built up a big lead, but we've seen some issues with the officiating in this set. Issa Grady Harper serving now for Milford. Ball goes out of play. 22-13, King Philip still with the lead. Get our scoreboard realigned momentarily. Downing with a return to the back row. Good work by Manforte in the front. Lofts a return. Eventually, King Philip emerges with the point. So Milford not giving in this first set. Sure, the coaching staff like seeing that level of fight. Lubkin serving. KP just able to keep that one off the floor. A nice play from number 10, Paige Ballantine. KP takes the point, and they will have a whole series of set point chances here, up 24-14. Madison Asparelli, another one of the senior captains, serves at set point. And so that'll give the point and the set to King Philip. So 25-14, Milford with a nice little burst there in the end. But King Philip will take the opening set in this match to start off in front. We'll take a quick pause here on the broadcast as we come to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Again, 1-0 King Philip on top of Milford. To acknowledge our other sponsors, Unibank, and of course our presenting sponsor for Scarlet Hawks Athletics is the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. More in just a moment here on Milford TV. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Also brought to you in part by Rentschler Biopharma, official sponsor of our broadcast booth, and by Unibank. Unibank, big bank know-how, community bank attitude. Again, here in the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth with a state-of-the-art facility and a commitment to excellence. Rentschler Biopharma is poised to tackle the most complex challenges in biopharmaceutical development and manufacturing. Into the second set now. KP up 1-0. Milford looking for a continuation of where things were headed at the end of that first set. Milford digging themselves too big a hole, played better late in the set. Once you go down by double digits in this game, very difficult to work your way back in unless you get really hot on serve. And this is not the kind of opponent that you can afford to dig yourself a hole against, as that serve is unreturnable, and King Philip starting off strong here in the second set with CC Mullen once again getting it started on serve. TJ Downing checking in with the officials. Milford with a smaller complement at their disposal here tonight. Captain Claudia Salitro not part of the mix here tonight, nor is Liza Cunha. As on serve, Milford trailing 3-1 in the early going of the set. Stokes will set it up on the outside for Downing, who cannot get it across the net. Good solid serve, intercepted by Issa Grady Harper. Nice adjustment at the net for Downing. 5-1 start here in the second set. So again, going back to the 2014 season, Milford is 0-14 head-to-head against King Philip. This has been a program that has just had Milford's number. Excellent diving play for Stokes, using every inch of that frame to get to the ball, and now another misdirect play on that return. Grady Harper with a dive. And Milford gets the deflection on the return from TJ Downing. A good rally there, ends in a point for the Scarlet Hawks. They trail by 3. Cross-court return, too much for Grady Harper. Good effort as she went into the dive. Alex Pauline will serve now for the Warriors. Stokes will set it up for Darling. She goes cross-court. King Phillip jamming away at the net, but run out of touches. Substitutions in for Milford. Lupkin will take over on serve. Rentis in to the game as well. Hard return and an excellent dig on the back row for Inez. Milford sending the return out. Quick side out for the Warriors. They lead 1-0. They lead 7-3 now here in the second set. Madison Asparelli serving for the visitors. Rentis now to the back, but too long. That ball drifting out into the lobby. A fan gracious enough to go collect it. Grady Harper struggling with that serve, and Milford falling behind again. Good play for Lupkin. KP sets up for the smash. They're able to dot it on that far sideline. And Coach Weber calling another timeout. Such a fascinating brand of coaching to watch for Tammy Weber, as her affect never really changes if the team is winning, if the team is losing. Not demonstrative on the sidelines, not demonstrative in the huddle, just very even-keeled. No question that she has been such a great presence in this girls volleyball program. Great coaching staffs up and down the sub-varsity ranks for the girls volleyball program as well, including Milford alumni, who we not too long ago saw as players, now coming back to start getting involved in the coaching ranks, in particular Kyra Alves, who we saw just a few seasons ago playing on this varsity team. Ball glances off the hands of Inez on the back row, and the lead mounting for King Phillip once again. Warriors now leading 12-3. Asparelli still on serve. Serve from Asparelli met by Downing. Lupkin pops it over the net and out of play. And so an 11-point lead now for the Warriors. Milford has not been able to find that next gear to be able to stay competitive. She attested checking into the game at 14-4. She will serve. Skims the top of the net as that serve goes across. Rejection in the front row by Rentis. Testa pops this to the middle. Lupkin waits for it to come down and delivers it across. Delivered over the middle by CC Kilroy. Inez now will blast it from the outside. Excellent play on the dig for Issa Grady Harper. Hard serve to handle from Fiona Bailey. Lead continues to hover around 11 points for the Warriors. Now Inez, that time strong cross-court shot gets the kill. Delivered so hard, you can see Inez shaking out the right hand over by the net. Leonie Manforte now will serve at 16-6 KP, and service error. Frustration for Manforte as she heads back to the sideline. Avery Retta serving for the Warriors. And Milford caught looking while dropping between all 6 players on the court. And now off the hands of Inez, and another set that is very quickly slipping away for the Scarlet Hawks, and back into another timeout. As Coach Weber tries to find the right message here to get Milford back into this match. So again, if we look back at how things transpired when these teams met earlier this season, it was a 3-set sweep defeat. It's back on September 19th. Milford played a very competitive opening set in that match. KP won it 25-21. Won the second set 25-12, and then took care of business in the third set 25-17. But those first and third sets, relatively competitive. Milford losing the first set 25-14, and 6 points on the board in the second set, with KP 6 points away from a 2-0 lead. And this time Inez might have clipped the top of the net, also got a deflection off the front row. Brooke Stokes out onto the court to serve. Hard shot. Grady Harper gets there. Testa brings it back to the middle, and Murphy gets the return. Work for Milford there, but too strong from the outside. Another kill for Kilroy. Good last name for a high-quality outside hitter. Testa pops this one straight up in the air. Grady Harper gets the return. And a block for Abby Murphy. Fiona Bailey is the kills leader on this King Philip team. She has 168. CC Kilroy with 102. Very good offensive numbers for those two offensive leaders. It'll be Maya McCormick serving at 21-8. Little touch back to the middle for Stokes, but Milford cannot get the return. And KP now just 3 points away from a commanding lead in the match. Diving effort again for Grady Harper, but too good for the Warriors. Stokes pushes to the outside for Downing. Now Grady Harper for Downing. And King Philip now at set point. Another dive for Grady Harper, and Stokes effective again with that sneak attack. Milford fights off one set point, but down in a gigantic hole at 24-9. And that is it. Taking care of business there, Molly Sweeney. She gets the decisive kill in the set, and Milford quickly falls behind here 2-0, looking for the answer. We'll see if they can climb their way back in when we begin third set action right after this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. You can enjoy Kids Eat Free pancakes at brunch every weekend in October over at Rail Trail. Kids will receive a single pancake of their choosing at brunch with pancake of a large flatbread or entree purchase. That is Saturdays and Sundays in October, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. exclusively at their Milford location. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is also brought to you in part by Unibank, Big Bank Know-How, Community Bank Attitude. And of course, we come to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth as we now settle in for third set action in this, our final girls volleyball coverage of the regular season. Starting to get down to the end of our coverage. We've had a robust schedule of games throughout the last 7 weeks. And we still have more to come before we officially close things down in the regular season. We'll start to promote some of our upcoming coverage as this third set goes along. Tied at 1 here after the first 2 points are exchanged. Service on the King Philip side now for CC Mullen. Abby Murphy, and then a little flick that goes out of play. And this may be the first time at any point in this match that Milford has had a lead. It's been a tough night so far Losing the first set 25-14, losing the second set moments ago 25-9. Milford delivers a serve that can't be returned, and so a better start to the third set. King Philip 10-6 on the season. Stokes with the setup. Darling with a return that drops down. So KP in their recent stretch, not quite as solid lately. They've been in a bit of a win one, lose one pattern. Had an excellent stretch from September 19th to September 30th where they won 5 consecutive matches. That was their best stretch of the season. But again, a double-digit win season already with still... They'll have 3 matches to go all at home after this one wraps up tonight. Milford, meanwhile, has lost their last 2. They too will have 3 matches left after this one wraps up. Milford getting called for the infraction, and so the lead shrinking to just 1 point. And now Grady Harper and Inez Blanco de Almeida getting confused on the back row, and tied up now at 4, so that early lead for Milford erased. And now the service error from McCormick. Issa Grady Harper serving for the Hawks. Grady Harper elects to let that ball go, and it drops in. This game did not have quite the student section contingent that we've seen for many of the girls volleyball games this year. It's been really nice to see the support that this program has gotten at the home games we've covered this season, but a more sparse crowd tonight. As King Philip now will take a lead in this third set at 6-5. If you've missed any of our previous girls volleyball coverage this season, you can find it along with all of our other Milford TV staff-produced content on our YouTube page. All broken down for you into playlists. All of our sports have their own individual playlist. Seven to 5 here. King Philip with a 2-point lead. Alex Pauline serving and comes through with an ace. Dug out by Downing. Comes in for the return. Coach Weber will call a timeout, so that'll give us a chance to dig into what we have coming up on the schedule. Just 4 games remain in our coverage schedule after we wrap up tonight. We'll be out on the football field tomorrow night with our continuing coverage of the Scarlet Hawks football team as they will welcome in the Sharon Eagles. First time the football team has played Sharon in a number of seasons. So that game will take place on the Milford turf tomorrow night. Live coverage will get underway just before 7 p.m. 7 o'clock kickoff. You can watch the action live locally on our educational channel, our HD channel, or on YouTube. Next week we'll have coverage later on in the week. Of course, we're also featuring live coverage of Milford's town meeting on Monday of next week. But we will have boys soccer action for you on Thursday next week as Milford hosts Franklin in a battle of two teams atop the Kelly Rec standings. We'll also have our final regular season football game for you as Milford will host their big rivals from King Philip. And then we'll officially close out our regular season coverage with boys soccer action against Taunton on Monday, October 28th. So it is boys soccer and football the rest of the way after we wrap things up tonight. King Philip quietly mounting a 5-point lead here in the third set after Milford did have the early advantage in the set. Great reaction at the net for CeCe Mullen to send that ball back to one of her teammates. Aaliyah Campos will check into the game. We saw Aaliyah as well as Emma Rodolfi logging minutes for the JV team prior to this match. Now push over the middle and a kill for Tamanda Clark. She gets a big cheer from the KP fans in the house, and it seems like a decent traveling section of KP fans. Clark, a captain along with Madison Asparelli and Fiona Bailey. Julianis Rentis to Leonie Manforte on the return. Another hard attacking shot by CeCe Kilroy. Gets it done once again. Coming into play tonight, Milford found themselves in the number 27 position in the Division II girls volleyball power rankings. You've got to be in that top 32 to make it into the tournament, so Milford continues to be within a playoff spot. And unless something drastically turns around in this match, they won't have the ability to really help their cause in playoff positioning tonight. So again, they will look ahead to how the schedule will wrap up, and still some tough opponents waiting for Milford on that schedule. Most notably the Franklin Panthers, who will come here to Milford next week. As the Hawks get a deflection, down for the point, and a closer margin in this third set, at least so far. 13-8. Lucia Testa can't keep that serve in bounds, so KP gets the quick side out. Substitutions will come in for both teams. KP, I believe, in the D1 ranks for girls volleyball. Indeed, they are currently in the number 20 position in those most updated power rankings. Stacked in the D1 power rankings, including an unbeaten team at the top, Newton North, in the number 1 position in the D1 power rankings at 14-0. The Attleboro Bombardiers of the Kelly Rex division also undefeated on the season at 14-0, but they only come in the number 4 position in D1. Brookline and Lincoln Sudbury ahead of Attleboro in the rankings, despite each having 11-3 records. So always interesting to see how the calculations all work out with those power rankings. 15-9, King Philip with the lead here in the third set. Amanda Clark serving for the Warriors. Service error gives Milford a side out. And substitutions again will bring Brooke Stokes onto the floor to serve. Milford trailing by 6, trailing by 2 sets. Lofted to the back. Testa had it deflect. Milford couldn't track it down. We'll go back once again to CeCe Mullins serving for the Warriors. Late reaction for Danny Darling. We talked a little bit about the lower numbers for this match tonight. Also have not seen Gianna LeBron with the team tonight as well. So Milford in what was going to be a tough matchup regardless without some of their fixtures in their rotation, including LeBron, of course, Captain Claudia Salitro, and Liza Cunha as well, who we've seen getting more and more playing time as the season has gone on. So it's been a tighter bench for Coach Weber to work with tonight. Dolphy keeps that airborne for Inez. Milford able to hang on for the point. Inez will serve. Milford down by 8. Delivering that serve too long, and King Philip now closes to within 5 points of a match victory. So as Maya McCormick gets ready to serve, again, just looking at how things will close out here in the regular season for Milford. They have just one home game left. And that will come up on October 21st here at home against Franklin. And then they will close out the season with 2 games on the road. Their final Hockomock League opponent will be the Taunton Tigers on October 23rd. And then they'll finish the regular season on October 25th in a non-conference game against Randolph. So the team hoping that they can stay within the top 32 to get into that Division II playoff tournament. King Philip, meanwhile, will finish out the regular season with 3 games at home. A non-conference game coming up next against Wellesley on the 18th. So back at it tomorrow against a non-conference opponent, and then 2 more home games next week against the Taunton Tigers, and then finishing out the season with a very tough opponent in the Attleboro Bombardiers, who, as we mentioned when we were looking at those D1 rankings, a perfect 15-0 overall on the season. It's been some great talent at the top of both of the divisions in the Hawk. Attleboro at 15-0, Franklin at 12-3, this King Philip team at 10-6, and a couple of double-digit winners in the Davenport as well. Canton at 12-3, Oliver Ames at 15-2. Those teams right now tied in first place, as they both have identical 11-2 league records. Everyone else below 500 down in the Davenport. Another one-handed flick for Stokes. Leads to Milford claiming the point. It's a 10-point deficit in the third set for Milford. King Philip 3 points away from closing things out. Lisa Grady Harper will serve. Set up on the outside into the net on the return attempt for Allie Cleesby. Coach Gers widening her rotation with this match seemingly well in hand. Another serve here for Grady Harper. Darling on the outside. Pauline with a good play. Another chance for Darling. It's called for a held ball. And Milford upset with the call. Coach Weber upset with the call, and the officials getting into it a bit with Milford with just 2 points left to get for the Warriors. And they'll have match point opportunities now. The officiating, just a footnote in this match, as King Philip has controlled it right from the very beginning. And a chance for Alex Pauline to finish things up. And that ball popped out of play, and that will do it. And a clean sweep on the road here for the Warriors tonight. Too much for Milford to handle here, as King Philip will sweep Milford in their regular season series as they take this game by a final of 3-0. They keep that winning streak going. 15 straight wins head-to-head for King Philip against Milford. So a tough night tonight for the Scarlet Hawks. We wish this volleyball team the best of luck the rest of the way in the regular season. We'll see if we can perhaps sneak in any playoff coverage should Milford have a chance to get in a game here on their home floor. And again, we want to let everyone know to check out our football coverage tomorrow night. We will be live from the Milford turf at 7 o'clock as Milford takes on the Sharon Eagles, as once again the football team looks to get their season back on track. We hope you will join us for that coverage, again live across all of our Milford TV platforms. But that's going to wrap things up here for tonight. A big thank you to Patrick Garapi helping out on the coverage, and I am Tim Coet as we come to you live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. That final score, one final time, King Philip with a 3-set sweep over Milford. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.